Good morning. Welcome back to Pecan Hill Farms. And we're looking at maybe our next project here in the shop. I bought this old trunk or old mechanics or machinist trunk at an estate sale, and I probably paid, I don't know, I'm thinking $10, $15 for it. And in the past, I've had some success with turning these into like coffee tables, and have sold a few. This one here it's got some rough areas. See the corners there, pretty rough. Some of the nails are loose down here and down here. I mean, it's pretty ugly. Some more nails coming out. Different types of nails in it. Finished nails, regular nails, painted handles. This corner's pretty bad here. So let's look at the inside. The inside's not much better. I mean, it needs some work. Now, what I've experienced as far as restoring or refurbishing these is how much better do you make them? Do you try to correct everything? Every little crack, every little divot, every nail? I mean, you try to fix it? Do you try to disguise it, cover it up, completely redo it, make it look brand new? That's the question. And what I've run across on these is that the ones that I've sold is I don't make them look brand new. I make them look a little nicer than they are. You know, there's some work I do to the edges. But a lot of people want that older look, want that aged look. And so that's kind of what you've got to figure out if you're going to do one of these, if you're going to plan on selling it, is try to find out that sweet spot right there where it's still old, it still looks its age, but it looks nice enough. You can go in anybody's house. They can use it as a coffee table or however they want to use it. And they like the looks of it. Now, I've got one that my wife, I worked on one time, and my wife kept. It was an old machinist chest. It had a lot of, I mean, it smelled like machine oil. And she really enjoyed it. I liked what it is, so she kept it. And so I'll take you up and to the upstairs, and we'll look at that, and I'll kind of give you an idea of what I'm looking to do with this one. Okay, this is the one my wife liked and she kept for her own personal use. It was a old machinist chest, and it had some of the same issues that the one I'm going to restore has now. The corners were rough. It would just, you know, and it still looks rough, doesn't it? But I kind of rounded off the corners a little bit with the sander. I put legs on it, put some hinges on it, tried to paint them to make them look a little nicer. And then I got the sander out and I hit it, took some of the paint off with it. It's kind of, my wife really liked the way it looked. It came out. Put a clear finish on it, and didn't do a whole lot of painting to it. I just kind of hit it with the sander. The thing had been painted several times. Some of the different colors came out in it. As you can see, there's the wood. There's the kind of a white cream color. There's a kind of a blue color. I mean, all this colors just kind of popped out of it when I started sanding it. And so that's, my wife liked it. And she decided to keep it. So it's kind of where we're going to go for on this other one. Of course, it's not going to turn out blue. It's red, probably just all red. But we'll figure out, we may have to paint it and then sand it. But I kind of want to give it that aged look. Keep its the history of it, but clean it up a little bit. Clean up some of the loose nails, some of the cracks, so anything that could, could actually peel up, any wood that could peel up on the corners. These I sanded down. They work pretty good. You can still see the nails though in it. But anyway, so that's kind of what we're looking to do with that piece downstairs. So we'll start it here in the next couple of days, and we'll bring you along and let's see what we can do with that other one. I showed you, that red one. I'll check you on the next video. Okay, we're back. This is the old chest we're going to try to work on here. I went through here and all the nail holes that were nails that were sticking out. Some of them I took out, some of them I drove. Got me a nail set. One of these nail sets here. And I took it, and a lot of these nails, I just took it and put my hammered them down into the wood there a little bit. They'll stay. I got some legs here. I usually, if I'm at a estate sale and in the garage and they have some old legs, I'll show you. Something like this. Sometimes you'll run across these, or an old table that's all worn out, or they're just trying to give away. You may not be able to use the table, but the legs may be good, and you can cut the legs off or take the legs off if they're screwed on. Just keep them, and then if you ever need some short legs like these here, you can cut them off. If you got enough of the legs, you can cut them off, make some short legs for these chests. And that's what I usually do. Sometimes I'll take a leg, and if I have 4 legs, and I'll cut them down on different projects, and I may use that leg on 3 or 4 different projects. But anyway, so I'll put some legs on here, and I've glued them down, and I clamped them, and so they should be dry. And what I'll do is I've already drilled a hole through the bottom of this this chest here of where these legs are, and then I'll just take a screw on from the inside into these legs, and that'll hold these legs nice and tight. What I've decided on the top, send this stuff out of the way. What I decided on the top, what they did on this top is they took this 3/4 inch wood on the sides, and they just put a real thin piece of 1/4 inch on the top, and it's kind of bowed in, and it's not very sturdy. If somebody tried to sit on it for any reason, it would, like if you had this at the foot of your bed to store something in, and somebody decided to sit on it, put on their socks or shoes or whatever, it might cave in. So I went down to Lowe's, and I bought this 1/2 inch, call it blonde wood, and it's just plywood. A lot of times people make drawers out of this for cabinets. And so what I'll do is I'll just cut that to the dimension, and I'm just going to replace the top of it. I'm just going to set this over, make a new top on it. That'll give it a lot more strength. And then on this edge here, I've got, let me see if I can find it here. I've got some trim pieces that I've used, bought some to use on another project, have some left over, and I'll just come along here and I'll just edge that piece, connect those where this top piece is connected to this lid. I'll just come along and put this trim around it, and that'll kind of give it a nice trim around the top and kind of finish it off good there. So that's how far we've gotten so far. So we're well on our way. Still don't know about what I'm going to do about the color here. Now, there's one thing when you need to find out when you start a project like this is if you've got latex, water-based latex, or if you got oil paint, oil-based. Think about oil-based. Oil-based will go over oil and will go over latex. But latex will only go over latex. If you try to put latex over oil, it won't stick very good and it'll bubble up or flake off pretty easily. So the way you, if you don't know how to find that out, you just get your rag and you can either put rubbing alcohol on it, which most everybody has, or some acetone or mineral spirits or whatever. And but usually I would use alcohol. Most people have alcohol. And you just put it on there and you just rub on this lightly, this painted surface. If it comes off on your rag, you know it's latex. If it doesn't come off on your rag, it's probably have an oil-based paint. And I tested this and we have latex, which is fine. That means I can use latex or oil on it. The only advantage to having oil is a lot of times on oil you can sand it and it will sand. Whereas you sand on latex, it gets hot and then it just starts peeling off and it's just hard to, you really can't sand it real good because it just won't look very good. It'll rough up and it won't sand smooth like an oil base will. So we'll have to remember that when we get ready to figure out what we're going to do with this. I was thinking about maybe repainting it and then sanding it in certain places to give it that shabby chic look or that old look, you know. But we'll just see how it takes us. So anyway, that's far we've got right now. And do some sanding, maybe cut this top here to fit this, and I'll be back with you and show you how we're going. Okay, quick update on this chest we're working on here. I've got the new top on. I cut it. It was about 20 by 36. And fit pretty good. You know, the old top wasn't perfectly square, so I tried to cut it 20 by 36. It didn't fit exactly perfect, but what I did, it was a little over, a little bit too big. So I used my I used this router. I went ahead and nailed it, glued it down. Then I took this router, this straight cutting edge on it. And what this does, this little ball bearing will ride, like right here, it'll ride on the wood here on the side. And then this will trim it flush with that. So I use that over here around this top to where it'll trim down flush with the old top. So then I took my trim pieces that I showed you and I trimmed it out. And I've filled all the holes with wood filler. And I'm just waiting to sand this down. Once it dries up, probably do that tomorrow. Sand it down. Figure out what I'm going to do here with this color. I'm going to try to might take some stripper on here and strip this off pretty quick. Get down to bare wood. On this, the bottom part of it here. Yeah. So this is lined with wallpaper, contact paper. I got it all out. I wetted it down with a brush, just wetted it down, let it stand for a little bit. Then it was pretty easy just to scrape off. This bottom part here, I'm not too worried much about it because I'm going to put like a laminate, pieces of laminate to planks and make a floor there on it. It'll be the laminate wood. Probably paint this and leave that with the laminate wood on the bottom. So that won't take too long there. On the outside, I filled all the holes. And so once again, I'll have to decide if I'm going to just kind of strip it, put a stripper on it, and try to take this paint off, get down close to bare wood. And then when we do paint it, and if we go along and sand it in different areas to try to make it look like it's old, that wood will come through, you know. If not, if I left it like this and did that, then that red would kind of come through. Depending on what color I painted it, that may not look right. So that'll be my next thing I'll have to figure out. If I want to strip all this paint off or I leave it on there. So we'll have to see. I've got to find a color here, what kind of color I think would be good to go on this. This will probably be used as a they might use it as a chest, or someone might use it as a coffee table, or a table at the end of the bed. I mean, not a table, but a chest at the end of the bed. Something that can store stuff in it. Use it to sit down on, you know, put on your shoes in the morning or whatever. So we'll just have to see how that all comes out. I'm going to probably paint the legs. I've got some handles here that I'm going to put on the sides. This front part here, I might put a little fake key. When I get an old piece of furniture and I'm redoing it, a lot of times I'll keep the handles, I'll keep the knobs, I'll keep any of the type of decoration if I'm not going to use them. And I've got, I don't know. I've got a lot of that stuff over here. I just got to go through it. There's some hinges I'll probably use on the back. I might use these handles since this is kind of has a leaf in it. There's like a little leaf in this trim. I might do something like this. Put these handles on it like that. Paint them black or some color different than the color of the chest here. These would be more of a decorative thing. I mean, you might be able to use them to pick it up, but I probably wouldn't advise that. I'll sell them. I'll let people know, whoever buys this, these are more for decorative pieces. I don't know about the front. I don't know to put something here. I don't know. So, but we're not quite there yet. But anyway, that's how far I am right now. Tomorrow we'll do some more sanding. I'll make my mind up what I'm going to do about this color, if we want to try to strip it off or leave it on there and paint over it. But so we're coming right along. So it won't be long now, and we'll have this one done, and hopefully be something somebody will enjoy to have in their home. So let me go for now, and we'll be back as we continue on this piece.